In 1992, Honda released a superbike priced at over $50,000, twice as much as any other high-performance motorcycle of its time. But what shocked the world wasn't the price, it was what lay inside. A V4 engine with oval pistons, 32 valves, twin connecting rods per cylinder, and electronics years ahead of their time. This bike wasn't just a machine, it was Honda's bold declaration: we can build anything. But there was one thing they couldn't build: commercial success. Only a few hundred NR750s were produced. It didn't race, it didn't break records, and no one really understood what it was meant to be. So why did Honda build such an insane motorcycle? And how did a machine that cost as much as a supercar vanish like a dream? 1985, Suzuki Madura 1200. In the mid-1980s, Honda was dominating the power cruiser segment with its Magna series. To counter this, Suzuki launched the Madura 1200, a big V4-powered cruiser aimed at outperforming its rival in both power and style. But instead of being a bold comeback, the Madura became a heavy-handed failure. Despite its liquid-cooled 1165 cubic centimeter V4 engine producing an impressive 117 horsepower, very respectable for the time, the Madura was plagued by poor design decisions. Its dry weight neared 670 pounds, making it bulky and hard to manage at low speeds. Soft suspension, weak brakes, and a heavy front end ruined its ride quality. Worse yet, the Madura's styling was called confused. A large gas tank paired with a low seat, oversized exhausts with a stubby tail. It wasn't truly a classic cruiser, nor a modern sport bike. In short, the Madura lacked identity. Critics panned it, riders ignored it, and Suzuki quietly discontinued it after just 2 years. Today, few remember the Madura, and maybe that's for the best. 1982, Harley-Davidson FXR Sport Glide. In the early 1980s, Harley-Davidson was in a tough spot. Japanese manufacturers were flooding the market with lighter, faster, and more reliable bikes. Harley had to evolve. Enter the FXR lineup, including the Sport Glide, as an attempt to modernize the iconic American brand. Technically, the FXR wasn't bad. It had a stiffer frame, a smooth 5-speed transmission, and better handling than traditional Harleys, but that very difference became its downfall. Harley's loyal fan base rejected it. The FXR Sport Glide didn't sound like a Harley, didn't look like one, and rode too refined. Meanwhile, newer riders turned to Japanese bikes that were cheaper and more advanced. Stuck between two worlds, the FXR Sport Glide failed to win over either camp. It wasn't classic enough for old-school fans and not modern enough to compete with imports. Poor sales and lukewarm reception led Harley to pull the plug after just 2 years. 1983, Yamaha XZ550 Vision. Launched in 1982, the XZ550 featured a host of advanced technologies: a liquid-cooled 4-stroke V-twin, a backbone-style frame, and, most notably, electronic fuel injection, which was extremely rare back then. On paper, it looked like the perfect sport touring machine: smooth, powerful, and high-tech. In reality, it was far from it. The complex electronics often failed, especially the EFI control module. The cooling system was inadequate, leading to frequent overheating at low speeds. Despite being a sport tourer, the bike weighed nearly 500 pounds, making it feel sluggish. Many riders complained about an awkward riding position and excessive engine heat during urban use. While it earned some praise from motorcycle magazines, the XZ550 Vision never won over consumers. Poor sales, hard-to-find parts, and just 2 short years on the market spelled its quiet demise. 1984. Honda VT 500 FT. Ascot Honda has long been praised for reading the market well and producing smart, practical bikes. But with the VT 500 FT Ascot, the company stumbled. Based on the 491 cubic centimeter V-twin platform from the VT 500 series, the Ascot was marketed as a mid-size urban sport bike, aimed at both beginners and experienced riders. The problem? It didn't do anything particularly well. The V-twin produced around 50 horsepower. Fine for city riding, but underwhelming on the highway. The front suspension was soft, and braking felt vague, leaving riders uneasy at higher speeds. Though the FT stood for flat track, the Ascot didn't lean into any particular style, not low enough to be a tracker, not fast enough to be a sport bike, and not comfy enough for commuting. Its design didn't help either. A tiny gas tank, sloped seat, and rectangular headlight made for a clumsy appearance. Despite the name, it bore little connection to the beloved Ascot of the 1970s. Sales flopped, and the bike quickly faded into obscurity. 1980 Suzuki GSX 250e Twin. Targeted at beginners, it was meant to be simple, easy to ride, and fuel-efficient. Unfortunately, it became a textbook case of cutting too many corners and ending up with a low-quality product. Its 250cc parallel twin engine made just about 27 horsepower, adequate for city riding, but painfully sluggish on the highway. The bike used a basic carburetor setup, offering nothing special. But the biggest letdown was the chassis and suspension. The front forks were too soft, and the rear shocks unstable, making it wobbly in corners or at higher speeds. Build quality was another sore spot. Brittle plastics, peeling paint, and exposed wiring. Many riders reported a stiff clutch, clunky gear changes, and unreliable electrics, while the competing Honda CB250 offered solid handling and durability. The GSX 250e felt rushed and poorly thought out. Unsurprisingly, the bike faded into obscurity. Today, the GSX 250e is barely remembered. 1987. Kawasaki Z1300. When Kawasaki unveiled the Z1300, they aimed to make a statement. We can build the biggest, most powerful motorcycle on the market. And they did, at least on paper. The liquid-cooled inline-six 1,286 cubic centimeter engine pumped out around 120 horsepower, an enormous figure at the time. But the Z1300 proved one thing. Bigger isn't always better. With a dry weight nearing 700 pounds, the bike was massive, cumbersome, and hard to maneuver. Cornering felt more like steering a car without power assist. Despite the brute force, the ride lacked finesse, making it unsuitable for true sport or touring enthusiasts. To make matters worse, the Z1300 guzzled fuel, often dropping below 30 miles per gallon with just a few throttle twists. Maintenance was a nightmare, and working on that 6-cylinder engine frustrated even seasoned mechanics. Kawasaki later introduced a fuel-injected version in the mid-80s, but it wasn't enough. By 1989, the Z1300 quietly disappeared from showrooms. 1985. Honda VF1000R. In the mid-1980s, Honda was in a full-blown tech race in the superbike segment, and the VF1000R was proof of that ambition. A machine built not just for power, but infused with the spirit of endurance racing. The VF1000R packed a liquid-cooled 998 cubic centimeter V4 engine producing over 110 horsepower. But what truly set it apart was its gear-driven dual overhead cams, a high-end alternative to traditional chain-driven cams. This setup allowed for higher RPMs and unmatched mechanical precision. It also gave the bike its legendary high-pitched howl, adored by enthusiasts. Its design borrowed heavily from endurance races. Full fairings, aerodynamic wind protection, a large windscreen, and a forward-leaning riding position, all making it look like a long-distance track warrior. Though its 600-plus pound weight made it less nimble than rivals like the GSX-R or Ninja, the VF1000R stood out as a technical powerhouse. Today, it's remembered as one of Honda's legendary V4 bikes, a key stepping stone to the iconic RC30 and future superbikes, a passionate mechanical creation from Honda's golden era. 1985, Suzuki GSX-R 750. In 1985, Suzuki didn't just launch a new motorcycle, they redefined what a modern superbike could be. The original GSX-R 750 marked a major turning point, delivering race-level performance to everyday riders with one bold philosophy: lightweight, powerful, and uncompromising. Its aluminum twin-spar frame drastically reduced weight, just around 388 pounds dry, far lighter than most competitors at the time. The 749 cubic centimeter DOHC oil-cooled engine pumped out roughly 100 horsepower, mated to a slick 6-speed gearbox and blistering acceleration. The styling was straight from the endurance racing world: sharp tail, smooth full fairing, low clip-on handlebars, and a solo seat, making it look like it had just left the Le Mans pit lane. Beyond its technical brilliance, the GSX-R 750 sparked a movement: the race replica era, production bikes with racing DNA. It became the foundation for Suzuki's legendary GSX-R lineup that continues to this day. Today, the 1985 model is highly sought after by collectors for its iconic status and rarity. 1984, Yamaha RD 350LC. Introduced as an evolution of the earlier RD 350, this model delivered a rare combination of high performance, lightweight design, and excellent control, all wrapped in a compact yet inspiring package. At the heart of the RD 350LC was a 347 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled, parallel twin two-stroke engine, producing around 55 horsepower. But the standout feature was the Yamaha Power Valve System, a variable exhaust valve mechanism that provided strong, low-end torque while still delivering explosive power at high RPMs. With a dry weight of just around 330 pounds, the bike was incredibly nimble and responsive in corners. Quick throttle reaction, the distinctive two-stroke soundtrack, and a raw, adrenaline-fueled feel made it a legend both on the streets and the racetrack. The RD 350LC also served as a launchpad for many professional racers, especially in Europe and the US. It wasn't the most powerful bike ever made, but it was undoubtedly one of the most fun. 1989, BMW K100. In the early 1980s, BMW faced the risk of falling behind in motorcycle technology. Japanese competitors were rapidly launching powerful, liquid-cooled four-cylinder bikes, while BMW stuck with air-cooled boxer engines. Then came the K100, the most groundbreaking motorcycle BMW had ever built at the time. The standout feature was the engine, a longitudinally mounted inline-four laid flat, earning the nickname Flying Brick, due to its boxy shape and unusual layout. This 987 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled engine featured Bosch LE Getronic fuel injection and produced around 90 horsepower, smooth, quiet, and reliable. It rode on a rigid frame with BMW's signature telelever front suspension, which offered increased stability and reduced brake dive. The design was bold and modern, yet retained a certain classic German charm. The K100 didn't just bring BMW up to speed, it launched an entirely new motorcycle lineage that extended into the 21st century. Among European touring riders, it became a symbol of durability and prestige. 1984, Kawasaki GPZ 900R Ninja, launched in 1984. The GP's 900R was the first motorcycle to carry the Ninja name, and arguably the first true modern sport bike in history. At its heart was a 908 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled inline-4 engine with double overhead camshaft and 16 valves, the first of its kind in a production motorcycle. Producing around 115 horsepower and weighing just over 500 pounds dry, the GPZ 900R could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.8 seconds, faster than many sports cars of its time. Its aerodynamic full fairings, rigid chassis, dual disc brakes, and sport-tuned suspension gave it both brute strength and precise control. Not only did it dominate performance charts, the GPZ 900R also left a lasting cultural mark with its appearance in the movie Top Gun, 1986, where Tom Cruise's fighter pilot character famously rode it down the runway. The GPZ 900R wasn't just a commercial success. It was the beginning of the legendary Ninja lineup, influencing the entire sport bike industry for decades to come. Today, it's still adored, not just for its speed, but for redefining what a true sport motorcycle could be. 1987, Honda RC30 VFR 750R. If there's one motorcycle that best defines 1980s superbike legend, it's the Honda RC30, officially known as the VFR 750R. Built not for mass-market appeal, but for racing dominance, the RC30 embodied the philosophy of a true race bike for the road. Powered by a liquid-cooled 748 cubic centimeter DOHC V4 engine, the RC30 delivered around 118 horsepower, paired with a close ratio gearbox and sky-high redline. Every part of the bike was handcrafted, from the ultra-light aluminum frame, aerodynamic fairings, to the Showa front suspension and single-sided swing arm, borrowed directly from Honda's MotoGP technology at the time. Weighing just around 400 pounds dry, it offered razor-sharp handling and incredible track precision. The RC30 won the World Superbike Championship in its debut 1988 season and racked up numerous victories at the Isle of Man TT, solidifying its status as a racing icon. Despite its original price being nearly double that of typical street bikes, it quickly became a coveted collector's item. The 1980s were a wild ride for the motorcycle world, a decade where bold engineering and constant experimentation gave us unforgettable masterpieces and unforgettable failures. From bikes that were too complex for their own good to machines that reshaped the industry, each one told its own unique story. Have you ever owned or ridden any of the bikes on this list? Or do you think there's another model that deserves a spot among the worst or the best? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and share it with fellow motorcycle lovers. We'll see you in the next video, where more shocking, emotional, and technical motorcycle stories await.